The like button. 16 by 16 pixels. A thumb on a website. Not exactly rocket science. Tap an image, increase the count, show the count. None of us expected this to become an international symbol. Except maybe Mark Zuckerberg, or as we call him, Zuck. When I met Zuck, it was 2004. I had just graduated from Harvard with a master's and undergraduate degree in computer science. I was gonna take over the world. We just launched a site called metels.com that was gonna revolutionize the way that all of you guys connect with each other online. I'm guessing that nobody here has ever heard of this. I was also the most arrogant guy I knew. And then along came Mark Zuckerberg. And literally 3 weeks later, he launched a site called thefacebook.com. I was actual user number 703, alumni user number 2, and I waited for them to fail. And I waited a little bit more, and Mark's growth curve went kind of like this, and my growth curve went a little bit like this. So I sucked it up, and I decided to meet this guy. I remember this meeting. He was 10 minutes late to meet me, the arrogant guy that had just launched metels.com. Finagle Bagel, Harvard Square. I thought I would convince him to work for my company. But within 10 seconds of hearing him speak, it was immediately obvious to me that he was living in the future. He had the same sort of robotic, extremely rational affectations. He didn't care who we knew in common. He was laser focused on evaluating the content of my ideas. And I immediately switched into pitch mode. Only this time, I was trying to convince him why I should work for Facebook. Several months later, I became designer number 3, and I moved to Palo Alto, California. 3 years and 3 offices later, that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, I found myself outside of Mark's office pitching another idea. This time, a 16 by 16 pixel icon, the like button. The goal of the project was to make it easy for you to appreciate and care about the things that your friends were posting. But I was incredibly, incredibly scared because this project was cursed. It took more than 2 years to complete. I didn't even start on the project. It wasn't my idea. It was originally called the awesome button. It was a star. We thought the thumb might have been offensive in some countries. It actually is. And it went through 7 different teams and failed to pass what we call a Zuck review 10 times. And that's when you meet with Zuck and he decides whether or not something can go on the site. So when I got the project and it was handed to me and called cursed, I decided to do something a little bit different. I wagered almost all of my political capital, and I decided to launch it without having a Zuck review. Inspired by the mottos you see behind me, move fast and break things, and done is better than perfect, I thought this would be a good idea. I'm pretty sure that Mark got this email, which by the way took about 8 hours to write a single line email, something like, "Hey Mark, we're gonna launch the like button test in Scandinavia. I'll let you know how the results go." And I'm pretty sure he got that and knew exactly what I was doing, half appreciating the risk, but also ready to punish the failure. And what failure would have been if the introduction of the like button actually decreased the number of the comments on the site. So intuitively, we'd all rather 1 comment than 1 like. That's pretty obvious. But what about 10 likes? You might rather get that than a comment. And so we were trying to do this math. We were really focusing on how to design the feature such that we'd minimize the number of comments you'd lose. And I thought about all the things that we had done to do this. We'd make it so that when you like something, we put your cursor right in the comment box. We really amped up newsfeed juice so all your friends would see something that you liked. And then, confident, I hit that send button. And then I immediately started to freak out. I refreshed our stats page over and over and over. I refreshed my email, wondering if I would get the Mark email, the Zuck veto, or that I would be fired. I remembered something that Mark told me a couple years ago, this project I worked on called the Friend Finder. He turned to me after it. It was responsible for a lot of our early growth, and he said, "Hey, Jared, do you think you'll ever do anything as high leverage ever again?" Which is about the best compliment you can get from Mark. Usually you'll get things like, "That seems reasonable." Yeah, that's reasonable. So I was actually having these nightmares all waiting my fate. And they kind of looked like this, like a like button chasing me down these corridors in a Pac-Man-like video game. And I waited, and I waited, this time not for him to fail, but for me to succeed. And what we learned is that there was actually no trade-off between likes and comments. In fact, the like button increased comments. Yes, yes. I love this photo. This happened as like a high five on the day of our IPO, and Mark sort of like transitioned it into this awkward hug. It's perfect. It's the closest I've ever been with him. Maybe there'll be more. But success, right? We were celebrating a real achievement. Every day, 1 billion people use Facebook. 44% of people like something every day. There's like 7 billion people in the world. This results in more than 5 billion likes every single day. The Earth is like 4.5 billion years old. I'm not entirely sure how that's relevant. Anyway, success. This is a photo of Mark addressing the entire company the day we had our IPO. Except, how many people here have ever uploaded something, not received the appropriate amount of likes that they thought, and then deleted it? This is a real question. I'm expecting some hands here. There we go. Whoa, thanks for the light. That's about, 11%. I do this all the time. How many people here are maybe wondering if this TED Talk right now is going to get the most amount of likes on every piece of content they've ever uploaded before? This guy. This guy is really worried about that. I took this photo in January of 2012. It's a photo outside of Facebook headquarters, and it's all my colleagues waiting for a shuttle bus that would take you home. And you can see everybody's evenly spaced out, looking at their phone, trying to avoid making accidental peripheral vision eye contact for fear that they might have to say something to their coworkers. And I had the opportunity to talk to them too, but I didn't take that. No, I took the photo. I took that photo and I uploaded it with the caption, "Oh my God, what have we done?" And it became my most liked photo ever. It even got a Zuck like. Triple word score. But it made me think, what actually had we done? Some of you have seen this photo before. It's a photo of Vatican City taken in 2005 and another one taken in 2013. And you see the more recent one riddled with phones and mobile devices, taking photos of the experience, taking you outside of what you're looking at, only to upload it to an audience that you're not with. And then it really hit me, oh my God, what have we done? 8 months later, I was profoundly, profoundly depressed. I had left Facebook in a blaze of glory. I gave it 7 years of my life, from 24 to 31. I had launched the friend finder. I had launched social ads. I had launched the like button. And even when I left, I played a prank on Facebook. I colored our hack sign red in a note of goodbye because I was the red team captain every year. Inspired and confident, I decided to drive across the country with my best friend and the girl of my dreams to focus on family. Prior to joining Facebook, my father passed away from renal cell carcinoma, kidney cancer. I was 22, and I did what I thought I could. I spent a month or two there. And then I joined Facebook, but I always wanted to do more. Growing up, my family was like 3 parents to me: my mom, my dad, and my sister. They would do anything to ensure that I was successful. They even failed to tell me that my father was sick so that they wouldn't take me off my trajectory at Harvard, something I've only recently forgiven them for. But I wanted to give back, and now that I had the means and the maturity, I decided to cross the country and focus on helping my mom sell the house we grew up in. Too many memories in there. Help her retire. Help my sister get her dream job back in California. And days that used to be filled with working with classmates, brainstorming, building, shipping, now turned to days of being alone with myself to think, trapped in my own head while, say, like, waiting for the plumber. And I didn't like how I was thinking about the world. I was realizing that I spent most of my adolescent life and my early adult life doing things for the approval of others. And that sunk in. And all of this time, you wouldn't have guessed it at all. I was living in my Soho loft in downtown Manhattan, and I was crushing it, or so you thought. And if you sum the number of likes, you would have believed this. Turns out that thousands of likes do not equal happy. And I started to trace back my story of myself, my identity, and I realized that I went to Harvard because it was my mother's first choice. And I played soccer because my dad liked me scoring goals. And I won math competitions because my mom used to show up at the end of school with a banner that said first place before even knowing how I had done. And then I launched the like button, mankind's greatest gift to doing things for other people. A little overdramatic, but at the time, that's how I felt. I was in a real low, and I felt guilty for unleashing this scourge upon the world. And so, what did I do? I just wasn't happy with myself. If I saw a happy, good-looking couple on the street, I'd think to myself of the qualities I had that made me better than that guy. If a colleague of mine achieved a career highlight, instead of being happy for them, I'd get jealous and envious. Sometimes I'd feel this way about close friends and really hate myself. Amidst all of this, my girlfriend left me, full of love for me, because I didn't love myself. And to really imagine the mind space I was in, you have to look back that I was at the top of my game. I came across the country. I was going to help my family out, only to realize that I was the one who needed help, literally living in the high school room that I grew up in, staring at the achievements of my past and the wallpaper that I used to dream to. It was the lowest of the lows. I did yoga. I tried therapy. I read self-help books. I tried veganism. I tried everything there was to do, but I couldn't figure it out. In the end, it was two things that rescued me. The first was not fighting this need for me to connect with others. And the second was creating again, prioritizing my art with people who inspired me. I'm going to tell two quick stories that helped me get out of this depression. The first was a 10-day no-speaking meditation retreat. It's called a Vipassana. Note to everybody in the audience, do not do this when you are depressed. I figured this out about 7 minutes in. Okay, it's about 11 hours a day of meditating. You can't have a phone, you can't interact with anyone, there's no cell phones, you can't even write things down, no eye contact, no smiles. And I desperately wanted to connect in this environment. And the person I most wanted to connect with was my roommate. He was tanned, he had a big beard, good build. He looked like the type of guy who would win Survivor. And he even showered with a pink towel. What a badass, you know? And he was my roommate, and I was searching on day 3, day 4. I was like, I really wanted him to like me. But then I also really hated myself for wanting him to like me. Why can't I be cool without this guy, Constantine, liking me, you know? I named him Constantine. And I tried to get his attention, and then like on day 7, I realized, it wasn't that I needed Constantine to confer coolness upon me. It was more that I just wanted to connect with someone, and someone that I was inspired by. And on day 8, something else really beautiful happened. There was this stone table, and one of my fellow meditators went over to this table and started to design this floral pattern. Spent about 20 minutes on it. You're not supposed to interact, you're not supposed to watch people, but he got the attention of the other meditators. And then he got up, and I scurried over there, and I spent 20 minutes making sure I could uphold the quality of his floral design work. This was like my main achievement for these 10 days, and I spent a lot of time, and then I got up, making sure I left enough time for someone else to maybe add a third layer. And I walked to a tree, and I laid down, and I was thinking, please, please, let someone else add this. Let it not only be me who needs to communicate in this foreign, empty environment. And then 20 minutes later, the bell rung. I looked up, and Constantine had added another ring. Yes, people need to connect. That was a really important moment. By the way, day 10, this is Constantine. His name is Chad. Chad lives in Canada, is a tech entrepreneur, and he was amazed at my achievements. It was crazy when I found this out that it was very flipped. You know what happened there? 0 likes, 0 comments. 1 prehistoric exchange equals 1,000 happy. And if you think about it, the like button is a lightweight way of expressing appreciation. It's a knock, it's a pound, it's a hug, it's a high five, it's a you got this. It's a nice job on that floral design. And I was realizing that it mattered less the amount of likes you'd actually get, but who you got them by. You know? It wasn't how many likes equals 1 happy. It was a person who I care about cares about me equals 1 happy. How many people here have tapped on that like button and started scrolling? And then you scroll a little bit more, and you get to that bottom third, and you're like, where is she? Where is he? You're searching for someone. You're not trying to do the counts. You're finding human connection there. Whether it's a cuddle, a digital like button, a pound, even a scowl. And the second thing that really healed me was creating again. This is what fixed me. What I was realizing about is the scale of what you work on is not what's important. It doesn't need to be the size of the like button. You know, let's hope it's a little bit bigger than a floral design on a stone tablet in a 10-day speaking retreat where you want to kill yourself. But focus on something and be accountable to a team and do something that you're passionate about. And what we're passionate about at Chime is we want to connect you more closely with the people you care about. Makes sense given the talk, but we want to do it through video. But nothing is better than interacting with people in person. My father passed away 10 years ago in an era before there were likes. He was an awesome, awesome guy. He used to always yell at me for being on the phone with my high school girlfriend, Emily Tannen. She's not here. And he used to say, "Ja, just go over there. She lives around the block. I won't tell Ma." You know? That's not what he sounds like at all. And you know, maybe he was from the telephone generation, graduating from the telephone generation, but all of us, we're the like button generation. And what we're learning, like every generation before us, is that a digital convenience only increases the spectrum of sharing core human needs. It doesn't replace it. I've accumulated thousands of likes since we launched the like button, but I'd trade all of them for a couple more days with my dad to tell him what I learned. Thank you all for listening to my story.